before we get into the video, I want you to listen to something. I want you to listen to the message and understand what was going on at the time and how that translates into what has happened now.
Soldiers, sailors, and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force, you are about to embark upon the great crusade toward which we have striven these many months. The eyes of the world are upon you. The hopes and prayers of liberty-loving people everywhere march with you. In company with our brave allies and brothers in arms on other fronts, you will bring about the destruction of the German war machine, the elimination of Nazi tyranny over the oppressed peoples of Europe, and security for ourselves in a free world. Your task will not be an easy one. Your enemy is well-trained, well-equipped, and battle-hardened. He will fight savagely. But this is the year 1944. Much has happened since the Nazi triumphs of 1940-41. The United Nations have inflicted upon the Germans great defeats in open battle, man to man. Our air offensive has seriously reduced their strength in the air and their capacity to wage war on the ground. Our home fronts have given us an overwhelming superiority in weapons and munitions of war, and placed at our disposal great reserves of trained fighting men. The tide has turned. The free men of the world are marching together to victory. I have full confidence in your courage, devotion to duty, and skill in battle. We will accept nothing less than full victory. Good luck, and let us all beseech the blessing of Almighty God upon this great and noble undertaking.
That was told to a group of men who went on to be one of the greatest generations that we still have. They fought world powers and embarked on journeys that we can never imagine now. They changed the course of human history single-handedly. But what happened after that? We were a country that was so together. We went to the moon. We did all of these great accomplishments. But now, we're a laughingstock of the world. As a nation, we're more divided than ever, and it's quite sad to think that the men and the women who fought and they wanted to defeat tyranny in Nazi Germany, and they fought and they gave the ultimate sacrifice, this isn't what they fought for. I want you guys to take a look at something quick.
I don't know, I've lived a good life. I've had a lot of happiness, smiling, telling everybody that everything was beautiful every day. And people don't realize what they have. They bitch about it. And then nowadays, I am so upset that the things we did and the things we fought for and the boys that died for it, it's all gone down the drain. Our country's gone to hell in a handbasket. We haven't got the country we had when I was raised, not at all. Nobody will have the fun I had. Nobody will have the opportunity I had. It's just not the same. That's not what our boys, that's not what they died for. It's just not it. No, I'm so sorry.
Isn't that just absolutely horrible? Imagine what him and all of his friends went through at such a young age. We were all enjoying our lives. How did we get here? That's kind of the most interesting part, I suppose. The sad truth to it is that for the last 20 years, we've been dividing ourselves more and more for no reason. We fight over the color of our skin rather than the content of our character. We fight over our political disagreements. We fight over whether or not it's okay to be traditional or to be different. We fight because groups of people want us to accept their notions and their message as the correct one, and everybody must conform to it. And if you don't, you're a racist, you're a bigot, you're a homophobe, you're a horrible human being. A country that was founded on religion We persecute people for being religious. If you are a straight, white Christian male, you are probably one of the most persecuted groups out there currently. We burn and destroy our own businesses over something that we don't know the full story. We riot when we don't agree with something. And instead of helping our communities, all we do is destroy them more. And in the corrupt society that we live in, that is considered peaceful, and that is considered more than okay. And that's the sad reality. We promote the degeneracy of children and the self-mutilation of ourselves to live a false reality that's simply not true. We ignore scientific terms and scientific evidence because it hurts our feelings. Think back to your parents, your great-grandparents, even your grandparents, and how the technology and the time has changed so much within their lifetimes. My grandmother was born in the Great Depression. When she was a kid, she was more worried about survival than anything else. And as a country, they came together to try to help. They had soup kitchens, they had donations, they had access to supplies that people normally would not have without this help. Now, we don't live in a society where our government is perfect. Our government is more than corrupt now, and unfortunately we are a laughingstock of the world. I served in the military because I love my country, and I still do. The problem is the morals and the principles that all of us served for and all of us wanted are being attacked. We're no longer allowed to live an independent way of life. You have to conform to everybody's will, or else they threaten you with violence, they threaten you with being cancelled, they threaten your job, they threaten your livelihood. Everything that you have, they want to take away from you. And as a society, we turn a blind eye to it. We say it is okay for you to terrorize our communities, kill our children, simply because we don't agree with you. Our politicians do nothing about it. Our government is more corrupt. Our president promotes this. He promotes acts of terrorism as peaceful protests. But why even bother talking about this? Well, the main reason to talk about it is because we're pushing ourselves further and further, and eventually there's going to be a breaking point. And I don't want to find out what happens when there's the breaking point. I really don't. Martin Luther King once said, "I have a dream where my children will be judged by the content of their character rather than the color of their skin." But I guess that message died with him, because it's not all about race, it's not all about gender, it's about us as humans. It's about us finding common ground to live and accept each other. It's about us being able to talk things through and not immediately start attacking and killing each other because something happens. It's about us being able to be informed and do our own research and not be sheep and trust everything that everybody tells us, because unfortunately everything you see on the internet always isn't correct. We need to go back. We need to find unity. We need to stop tearing each other down and putting everybody else down and behind, where instead we can work together and grow and thrive as a society. Imagine the technological feats that we could accomplish if we all put our differences aside and work together. Now, it's not as easy as that, but I truly believe that there is common ground. I truly believe that we could work out all of our differences, because all of these problems didn't start until recently. And that's the unfortunate part. Our generation is growing up in a absolutely terrible, destroyed world that our parents and our grandparents never had. Think back to that speech that you heard in the beginning. When these men went and they fought and they died for this country, do you really think that this is what they died for?